What's going on, all you barroom brawl enthusiasts? Your two favorite bouncers. We're back tonight, and we're talking about the all-time greatest barroom bouncer flick, 1989, Roadhouse.
I just think I'm looking at a dead man.
Patrick Swayze.
For that line of work, I thought you'd be bigger.
Gee, I've never heard that before. Roadhouse.
Patrick Swayze, the one, the only, starring as Dalton in Roadhouse, 1980s over-the-top action at its finest, shall we say.
Yeah, that's right. It's directed by Rowdy Harrington. This movie came out in 1989. I actually saw this in theaters with my parents. I don't know why, but hey, I was a kid. Took me to see this. I always remember this movie. It's one of those late night TBS movies you'd see on like midnight, playing throughout the years. It's just one of those movies, cult classic. It was a bomb, basically. It didn't do well, but people still talk about it, love it. It's just a cheesy and terribly awesome movie at the same time. It really depicts the 1980s silly story. Bouncer shows up in the small town in like Mississippi or Missouri, rowdy bar. He has to go in there and knock some people around and get them straight so they're not causing a ruckus. And he's brought in and basically starts kicking ass.
He's brought into the Double Deuce.
Double Deuce.
Great name for a bar. He's brought in to clean up the place. It's full of, fights all the time, people doing drugs, people stealing out the back, throwing beer bottles at the musicians that are playing on stage. Just overall horrible. And Dalton's the man to clean it up. He's, a local legend, been brought out from the outside by the owner of the bar who's heard about him and wants to bring him in to clean it up. And right away, Dalton takes control of the place. He sees what's going on and he's able to work his little magic and use his martial arts training to really turn things around and to do it and always to follow some rules and to be nice while kicking ass.
Yeah, I like his whole like training tutorial about how to be a bouncer and to be nice. And the guy's like, "What did they call me? Cocksucker to my face. Be nice. What did they say? My mother's a whore. Is she?" That's just the whole scene. You got to be nice until you don't have to be nice. So they really pump it up. It really sets up the ridiculous, second and third act of just nonstop fights at this bar. You can clearly see they're not even hitting them when they're punching them. And, it's everything you want in a really bad 80s movie. And they really conquered that. It's just a big brawl throughout the entire rest of the film. And then it also sets up the big local villain. That would be Brad Wesley, played by Ben Gazzara, the famous villain from back then, opening up all these stores and things like that. And he's really, has his private, helicopter and all these really nice land. He's loaded, he's seen a lot of movies and it really sets up his character and what that has to do with Dalton.
Yeah, typical over-the-top villain for the 80s. Rich guy shows him cruising down the road in his Mercedes.
Yeah.
Drives up to his mansion that just so happens to be, across the lake or whatever from where Dalton's going to stay. So Dalton can, look over and see the over-the-top pool parties at Wesley's house with naked girls and all the people he sees at the bar over there getting wasted and doing drugs and stuff. So, the movie's great, though. It's fun. It just takes a snapshot of the time, like the over-the-top ridiculous action and music of the 80s. You had Jeff Healey there with his band playing, he's a blind musician there who is like a guitar maestro, really playing some awesome stuff. They brought him in to actually play in the movie and to do the soundtrack. He knows Dalton from, playing at his bar back where Dalton worked before. So they have a relationship. And there's also this legendary bouncer that basically Dalton has always heard of and has been a mentor of his and taught him what he's known, played by the one, the only Sam Elliott, as Wade Garrett. And he's got long hair. He's probably in his probably mid to late 40s in this movie, gray hair, a heartthrob for the time. So you had not only Patrick Swayze for the newer generation as the heartthrob, but then you had the old heartthrob Sam Elliott to take your mom. So your mom was happy when she went to the movie with your dad, basically at the time in the 80s. You had the best of both worlds there. He comes in and he gets involved with Dalton, and Wesley's been trying to take out Dalton and basically let his goons take over the city, take over the bar. When Dalton took over the bar and cleaned it up, he lost a lot of the drug trade. So they're always trying to get back at Dalton, and eventually it turns deadly and Dalton has to get the help of Wade Garrett. And along the way, old Dalton gets hurt and he goes to the hospital. And of course, the doctor that he sees, this like knockout blonde model, that's the top doc there, that of course patches him up. And then they, of course, fall in love. Just pure 80s over the top love story within this action movie. Everything about it's ridiculous, but it's so easy to watch and fun to watch. And it's one of those movies that are so bad you just have to love it.
It's up there like Footloose. It's just so ridiculous and over the top, cheesy, but you love it. And that's exactly what you get in this movie. His love with Kelly Lynch to play the doctor was ridiculous. He lives in like a barn, by the way. So they're like hanging out at his place. Then across the lake, of course, you see the bad guy's house, and they're always up to no good, trying to take Dalton out. It's a fun movie to take your mind off of things and see some awesome fight sequences and action sequences, bars, brawls with Pat Swayze doing what he knows how to do back then, was kick some ass. I loved the scene where he's running in his gray sweatpants and he knocks a guy off the motorcycle. It's ridiculous stuff, and that's Pat Swayze, and we miss that guy.
Yeah, he was great. He really played a great action star in this one. He had the physique for it, showed him training for it, and he had some cool fight sequences, doing the roundhouse kick with the fat guy in the bar going out the fake window. Scene that you mentioned where he's running after Jimmy, tackles him off the motorcycle, and then they have that awesome fight. And then at the end of the fight, he rips out Jimmy's throat, basically throws the body in the water. He goes across the water and ends up at Wesley's house. So he discovers the body. So some brutal, over the top fight sequences. None of it looks real, but Patrick Swayze really commits to the role and puts his all into it and does a great job as acting like the hero. And you really root for him the whole time in this, cheesy world, of course. And you root for him all the way to the end. He loses some people that he loves, but in the end, he saves the town from old Brad Wesley.
But overall, just a fun movie to revisit. And, it's the same over the years. Timeless classic. Looking for something silly to watch from back in the 80s, throw this in, or watch it on TBS late night, midnight when it's on TV, if you have that. But just a fun movie revisiting. I had, good time talking about this, sharing our thoughts and laughs about all the crazy, ridiculous scenes in this, and, another classic Patrick Swayze movie. So with that being said, Roadhouse, that's currently streaming on Netflix, I'm going to give it a 3.5 out of 5 Sam Elliott hairpieces.
And I am going to give Roadhouse a 5 out of 5 Sam Elliott hairpieces.
Woo!
5 out of 5 with the caveat that I know this is terrible, but it's a 5 out of 5 terrible.
Hey, if you love That's All Matters, that's what I would give Footloose. So kind of similar. Both bad 80s movies, but both classics in our eyes. So we're interested from hearing from all you guys out there. What did you like about Roadhouse? What didn't you like about Roadhouse? What's your favorite action flick from the 80s? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to click subscribe. Also, check out these wild action stars on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and our website, Cinephellas.com, for the latest, greatest TV movie news and reviews.
Gratuitous nudity for no reason. It would never work today. Even though I'm interested to see how they're going to do this remake. It's not going to have any of the charm of the 80s, but the only thing is Conor McGregor and Jake Gyllenhaal, we've seen old Jake do some cool stuff. I want to see what he does. I want to see the tone of this, what it's going to be like. It's not going to be able to, maintain the classic badness of 1989's Roadhouse, though. But I'm still interested. I'm glad we got to review Roadhouse, another classic Cinephellas review. Going back into the archives, watching some of our favorites, and from time to time, even watching ones back in the day that we never got a chance to watch, and watching them for the first time. So that's fun. We enjoy doing these from time to time. So thank you guys for tuning in to our review of Roadhouse. And you bet your asses we'll be back to review the new Roadhouse once it drops on Amazon Prime. I think it's supposed to drop on Prime. I'm not sure if it's going to get a theatrical release, but we'll be back to cover that one. And yeah, probably not. We'll be back to review that one and, compare it to this one. And until the next Cinefellas movie review, I'm Uncle Henry Dalton.
And I'm Uncle Logan Swayze, signing out until the next classic movie review.
Cheers.
So far, you haven't shown me shit.